শুভ সন্ধ্যা সবাইকে আমন্ত্রণ জানাচ্ছি আজকের আলাপচারিতায়। How should I start? This is a monumental day for British history. First Asian Prime Minister in Great Britain, only 42 years old, youngest in last 200 years. Up until 2 p.m. today, 24th of October, Penny Morgan was still fighting for the race. Up until last night, Boris Johnson, former Prime Minister, was still putting himself forward or considering putting himself forward for the race. Today, this historical announcement came. We are considering whether this should be something that we should celebrate. Rishi Sunak, is he going to be an inspiration for the Asian British community? But the question is whether he is going to be able to unite the party and unite the country and manage the market, manage the economy. Or should we consider, or the parties, Conservative Party should consider giving a general election where people can actually now give the mandate. So to talk about all these issues, in this historical day in British politics, I have 4 fabulous members of the community, and they are following the politics very closely. So let me introduce from my right, Urmee, Assembly Member for East London, obviously supporting Labour Party.
Not politically right.
Absolutely. Thank you, Urmee, for joining the panel. Barrister Lutfur Rahman, representing the business community. Thank you, Lutfur Bhai.
Thank you.
To my left, Bulbul Hassan, journalist. Obviously, he is possibly the most independent person here, trying to balance between right and left. And finally, my guest is Paul Canal, Councillor for Redbridge Council. He is the leader of the Redbridge Conservative Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Amy. Appreciate it.
Okay. I think I should start with Mr. Canal saying, what's your feeling after a turbulent couple of weeks?
I am exhilarated. This is a great day for my country. This is a great day for my party. This is a great day for the South Asian community. The fact that in modern Britain in this year, a South Asian, a British person, I emphasise he is British as I am, but a British person of South Asian heritage can ascend to office in the land is a testament to the fact that in this country we do have a meritocratic system. He has the ability intellectually, he has the commitment to do it for the right reasons. I think we're now at the start of a brave new dawn, to quote Tony Blair, and I think the future's bright for my party and bright for my country. I couldn't be happier, and I'm pleased I'm here this Monday and not last Monday.
Absolutely, but just I'll come back to that. A week and a half ago, obviously your party, Conservative members, the MPs, you were actually standing behind Liz Truss, and when he fought for the first time in this race, he didn't, Conservative Party didn't allow him to be the Prime Minister. If he's smart, if he's capable, if he's everything, why wasn't he elected before?
I think both us and the Labour Party have a flaw in our system. I wouldn't allow Labour members to make the choice. They chose Jeremy Corbyn. That was a disaster. And I don't think my members should have that choice as well. The people who should choose the PM are the MPs in the House of Commons. They work with that person, they know that person, they have the mandate, they were elected. And when they were given the choice, they made the right choice. I voted for Rishi first time round, and I'm pleased that my vote's finally come to fruition. It's a great day.
But the thing is, then the people of Great Britain didn't actually give him the mandate. It was Boris Johnson who got the mandate. I'll come back on that. Urmee, what's your feeling? How are you feeling? Are we excited that we now have got a Prime Minister from Asian background?
Well, of course, it is a historic moment. But look, what I would know is what is Rishi Sunak going to do to solve, for example, the cost of living crisis? Where does he stand? He has been very silent over the last few days. And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. Of course, I expect Paul, who I've known for many years, to say what he just said. Let us see where we are in 3 months' time as the cost of living crisis continues to bite. People can't afford to pay their mortgages. Food prices are going up all the time.
Come on, this is his first day.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, Urmee. I'm trying to set out the challenges before him. But let me make one point. Downing Street and number 11 are not Airbnbs, revolving doors. People
But it
come.
looks like
People-
Airbnbs.
Exactly. I'm sorry. It's been a shambles, chaotic. Our reputation internationally has suffered. This is our third prime minister in the last few weeks. 2 or 3 chancellors, is it? And what we need, in my opinion, is not a coronation we just had, just like with Liz Truss. We need an election where the people of this country can say who they want, what sort of policies do they want to support, who is best fit to take this country forward. And Paul, I would have thought your party, along with other sort of like-minded people all around the country, would say, let's trust the British people. Let's go to them. And let's say, right, we have had enough of this chaos. This is what we stand. There's a clear choice between the programs that we are the program we are offering and what so far has been a shambolic, chaotic government that has been squabbling, fighting amongst itself. They are putting party before the country. What we are saying is put the national interest first, put country before party, put action before dogma.
Okay, that's what he said. That's what Rishi Sunak said, that he's going to put the country's interests first and the party's interests first. So
Well,
we'll come back.
He made a statement today, but what we
very,
expect...
very sleek and smart and short.
But that is the problem. Sleek and smart is not a substitute for hard action. He was a key member of this government until just a few weeks ago. He was a chancellor under Boris Johnson, and then he did a U-turn and, well, stab Boris in the back. What I find really amusing, except that we are dealing with a serious situation, that MPs who were backing Liz Truss and Penny Mordaunt and Kemi Badenoch and Boris Johnson against Rishi Sunak, all of a sudden, in the space of a few weeks, have suddenly said that they see Rishi as the savior of their party and of the country. And which is why I say, trust the British people,
Could
go to the
that be?
public,
Because they
let's have
didn't
a
find
general election
anyone
now.
else. That question to Paul, I'll come back to you. Lutfulbhai, what's your view? I mean, should we now feel reassured? Should the market now get calmer because now we have got a prime minister who we believe, obviously there are debates about it, but at least what we have seen in last couple of months, someone can maintain the cool, calm, knows the economy, and will possibly give us the right direction now after all this really turmoil that we have experienced in last couple of weeks.
Yes.
Or last couple of months, rather.
Actually, not last a couple of years, you can say. It's all started from Brexit, and it's from there. It's never settled in the country. First of all, I'd like to congratulate, obviously, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is first Asian. I sometimes believe it's Obama moment. Although I don't actually, my first vote was Tony Blair until he went to war. And the same things, I'm just floating voter. I believe the leader has to be like something special. And I believe he's got something. But he has to take lots of blame as well. The way he started as a chancellor, and then obviously Boris, and then when he started the campaign as a leader. But look at this, as he said, that it should be into the party. The party members made a wrong choice when they chose the Liz Truss. He proved wrong. His economic policy was right, but the party member didn't take it.
And party members are part of the bigger community. They are part of the democratic mandate. So how can we say that party members made a wrong decision?
This same thing would have happened, 100% would have been same thing happen if Boris Johnson would have got 100 and the chaos would not have created, and it goes to the public. I'm sure Rishi Sunak would not have been Prime Minister. Even the Penny Mordaunt. I'm sure if it would have gone to the public, something could have gone wrong.
The members of Conservative Party, but doesn't that show the level of immaturity within this party? Within the party members? Because, last night I was listening to Boris Johnson's speech about why he is considering not to run for the show. The level of audacity, the level of no reflection whatsoever that what he has done up until all these weeks when he was forced to leave the prime ministership, how he has deceived the country in terms of lying about his conduct during COVID. Still, after all this, he was still saying that he could still run the country, he could still lead the country for an election.
I believe the two people in this world made the democracy mockery, which is Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. They make whole democracy mockery because to me, when you ever see the democracy, If you see the Westminster democracy and the Western presidential democracy, there are integrity and everything was there. And even the media, when the media found out something wrong, week later, you don't need a demonstration, nothing else. When the minister feels something wrong, they resign. It happened, and I saw, from my experience. But they made something, Boris Johnson, Partygate after, it's like all those sort of things. Luckily, at least the MP had last week and yesterday, all the MP had got something that, okay, we have to behind something because Conservative made a huge mess. So they have to come out from this one. And they think he's a financial, backing and everything. The Chancellor has got a knowledge, best possible outcome. So hopefully, but I don't think he would have a magic he could do this, because now used to be the Bank of England and everything has a savior. Now no Bank of England could save these things. Now it's a market economy, and market things is controlling everything. So I don't think Bank of England is like a printing money beforehand, like all the things. So I don't think Chancellor would make a magic things and could sort this out.
Okay, let's hear from Bulbul. What's been your observation? Should we be excited? Should we be starting celebrating the first Asian Prime Minister, or should we take a step back and see how it goes?
Thank you, Urmee. First of all, I think in terms of the Asian Prime Minister, it has got a symbolic significance. But to me, it's nothing special because we all are British and someone British is ruling the country. So nothing special. But we celebrate multiculturalism in this country. So in that aspect, I think this is something very positive, number one. Number two is, I am a bit cautious in terms of expressing my optimism. Two key words are important in Rishi's speech earlier today. One is stability, another one is unity. So as far as my understanding, stability is economic stability, and unity is the political parties, unity is very important to rule the country. Unfortunately, over the last few weeks or few months or few years, I can't see any sort of unity within the party. So the politics has been driven by the self-interest, power, and so on. So it's very difficult for him to lead a party which is divided. And apart from those party politics, I think the most important thing is that people have lost their faith in conventional political system. So this is one of the challenges that you'll have to face. On the other hand, apart from Umesh Desai, if you ask any of the member of the parliament from Labour Party, they will just say, okay, Labour is the answer. We won general election, as he mentioned. But the thing is, Labour Party has got enormous problem within the party. They've got a party within the party. So if you can't unite your party, how can you expect that you'll be the uniting factor of the country? So this is very chaotic situation, and I'd rather refer Russell Brand. He's a comedian, but he has got a very deeper political interpretation. So it's an irony that the comedian is giving you the political philosophy of thoughts rather than the politicians. They are convincing people in a positive manner.
I must come in there. I don't think this is business about that. In my party, we are a party within a party. Look, we lost the 2019 election. No. I'm coming to that. Yeah. We lost in 2019, the red wall seats and so on. We have learnt our lessons. We are doing our best to earn the trust of the British people. The opinion polls show that we are going in the right direction. However, we are not complacent. We are not getting carried away by any opinion poll, 30-40% lead. The only opinion poll that matters is the one on election day. But the party is solidly united behind Keir Starmer's leadership, as you saw at our conference in Liverpool, as you saw at our conference. I was there in Liverpool. I was in Brighton last year. Okay. I'm my own trade union, GMB, and other people. Of course, there are issues that we want to talk about economic policy, where we go. It's a healthy democratic discussion, but do not underestimate our will to provide a viable alternative to the chaos that we're seeing right now in Downing Street.
Let me put a question to you,
and put our case to the people. And the only way to do that is a general election.
To you. You don't have to give me the answer straight away, but think about it. So if I say, if the question to you is, Labour may come, but that's because Conservative Party is in such a mess, not because Labour policy is going to actually rescue this country. I'll come back to you, Paul.
Okay, sorry.
Now I'll come back to you. Think about my question, Paul. So in terms of, you've heard someone from business community saying, your party has actually lost all credibility, confidence of the market, of the people, not only in this country, but in an international forum as well. Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, was saying United Kingdom, Great Britain is no longer Great Britain, it's a laughing stock. Lord Balmoral, he was saying that, Great Britain has now become a laughing stock for Europeans as well as even for the USA.
I heard Lord Balmoral talk today, and he was very pleased that Rishi had been elected. And I think Lutfer made a very good point about businesses need stability. The reaction of the markets to Rishi's election has been very positive. Gilt yields have gone down, the pound's gone up, and our reputation for fiscal stability has been restored. The aim of Liz Truss and Kwasi Kwarteng was to give people back some of their money, and that's a noble thing to do. But they chose the wrong time to do it, and I opposed those tax cuts. I voted for Rishi Sunak
giving money back to the richer people.
Well, I thought that was the wrong thing to do. In America, the top rate of tax is 30%. It's 45 here. I favour having low rates of tax. I also favour having well-funded public services. After COVID and after the oil price shock caused by the war in Ukraine, now it's not the time to be giving money to those who are better off. Now it's the time to support entrepreneurs in businesses and to support working families. And I think that the markets now recognise that the Conservative Party is where it should have been 4 weeks ago and where it was, quite frankly, 10 years ago. And the last thing the country needs now is an election. That's more instability, that's a run on the pound, that's higher interest rates. What should happen now is this new government, led by Rishi Sunak, to be able to deliver their mandate over the next 2 years, a mandate driven by the votes of 40 million people who chose the MPs that elected Rishi Sunak, deliver that mandate, and then let the country decide in late 2024.
But that mandate was for him to be an MP, not the Prime Minister.
The MPs who elected Rishi Sunak, between them, got 40 million votes. That's 40 million votes behind Rishi Sunak. That is a mandate.
Yeah, but that is a mandate to be a MP, not a Prime Minister.
The MPs between them who chose Rishi Sunak got 40 million votes. That is a mandate.
MPs who rejected him a couple of weeks back.
The MPs didn't reject him.
How much confidence can we actually... how much confidence can we have on those same MPs?
I am loath to correct you on your show, but the MPs chose Rishi Sunak the first time round. The members didn't choose him. The MPs chose Rishi Sunak the second time round. The MPs, who know their members best, they made the right choice the first time, as did I, and the right choice the second time.
But the MPs also chose Liz Truss to go through that race in the first place.
More people have voted for Rishi Sunak than Liz Truss by a factor of 2 to 1.
Doesn't matter. Still,
but
she had enough.
But the bottom line is, we have a Prime Minister who will now deliver for this country and will bring stability. And I think it's great news, absolutely fantastic news.
And how do we know that's going to happen?
And if you're a young boy or girl out there from an ethnic background, you think that could be me, and that's going to inspire the future generation, and that has to be celebrated.
Absolutely. Let's hear from Urmee. Okay, answer to my question.
Yeah. Look, it's only been a few hours since Rishi Sunak got anointed as Prime Minister. This is a coronation. I don't know how Paul, who I've known for many years, can come to such a quick judgment in the space of a few hours that the markets have stabilized. Let us wait for the financial statement on the 31st of October. Let us see what his economic strategy is going. But look at the big picture. And Sadiqa is absolutely correct. We have become the laughing stock of the international world. We had a Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, the first Prime Minister in British history to receive a caution, a criminal offence over Partygate. Don't forget, Rishi Sunak also got a fixed penalty notice over Partygate. The last 2.5 years of this government has been slays, MPs, ministers behaving inappropriately, nothing being done about it by the leadership of the Tory party, Partygate, Boris Johnson breaking his own laws over the Northern Ireland Protocol, and then with the charade of ministers coming and going through Downing Street and through the Exchequer at number 11 Downing Street. And no wonders that trust in politics has gone to an all-time low, and the international community, President Joe Biden made a comment as well about Kwesi's kamikaze budget. That last budget, which was a mini budget only about 2-3 weeks ago, the richest of our society gain 40 times more than the poorest. That says it all. And that is why I say,
that's been reversed,
that is, yeah, but the very fact that you could even think of it, right, the very fact that, dogma is being put above the national interest, where people are desperately crying out, let us grasp the severe situation. Look, this is not personal about Rishi Sunak. Does he really understand what ordinary families are going through? Can't pay their bills. My own energy bill, I was going to buy a few £100. Food prices rising, the energy
we'll
crisis.
have to hear that.
One can go on and
with
on.
With the money that is his own account, number of people have put that question, actually, whether he would be able to understand what poverty means for some of the people who are living under the...
I don't want to go into the politics of envy, right? This is not about that, right? My own party, we believe in wealth creation and so on, right? And we have learned a lot of lessons from December 2019. As I said right at the beginning, what I'm more interested in is what is Rishi Sunak going to do concretely to help the poorest in our society, the weak. This is a low wages crisis, Amazon are only offering a 35p an hour wage increase.
I have to go for a break, Urmesh. So, দর্শক আমাদের ছোট্ট বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতিতে যেতে হচ্ছে। আপনারা সরাসরি ফেসবুক লাইভে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠানের সঙ্গে যোগ দিতে পারেন, কিংবা প্রশ্ন নিয়েও আমাদের প্যানেল মেম্বারদের কাছে আসতে পারেন। বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতির পর ফিরে আসছি। বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতির পর আমরা ফিরে এসেছি আবার আজকের অনুষ্ঠানে। ফেসবুক লাইভে আপনারা এই অনুষ্ঠান সরাসরি দেখতে পাচ্ছেন, কিংবা ইউটিউবেও কিংবা টেলিফোনের মাধ্যমে আমাদের সঙ্গে যুক্ত হতে পারেন। প্রশ্ন কিংবা মতামত নিয়ে আমরা কথা বলছি ব্রিটিশ রাজনীতি নিয়ে, এবং আজকে অবশ্যই একটি ঐতিহাসিক দিন যেখানে এই প্রথমবারের মতন ব্রিটিশ রাজনীতিতে একজন এশিয়ান প্রাইম মিনিস্টার মাত্র 42 বছর বয়সে তিনি যোগ দিলেন। In terms of my panel members today, I have Urmee Desai from Labour Party, I've got Barrister Lutfur Rahman, I've got journalist Bulbul Hassan, and at the end on my left is Paul Canal, Conservative Councillor from Redbridge. Lutfur Bhai, coming back to you, do we believe that Rishi Sunak will be able to hold a magic wand and calm the market, bring the mortgage rate down, give us security and stability for the high energy cost, and manage the crisis that we are facing in terms of the economy as a whole? Putting the division in the party aside, is he going to be able to do all those?
I'm not that much hopeful. I think calm the market down is okay, because what happened was Liz Truss did, took the huge risks at a wrong time, wrong decision, completely wrong time. Because when Rishi Sunak did it, the COVID time, took lots of loan from the market. At that time, everybody in the world was doing the same things. That's why market taking these things is okay. But when Liz Truss took those sort of things, took a risk at that time, she got for the cost of living like electricity and energy for 2 years. It's okay because people understand. But at the same time, she put the income tax, other things down, and put the lots of money from the market, and that market didn't believe it because she was trying to for trickle down economy, which is not right at that time. So she chose the wrong time. Although it's a conservative policy, because conservative, if you go to the policy level, she was taking the policy decision right. But I think Rishi Sunak did the COVID time, she was doing the labor policy. It's not a conservative policy always to take the money. Or giving the people, handout to the people. Conservative is not like this. They're trying to create the entrepreneur and things like that. So what the Rishi Sunak did at COVID time, it was all over the world doing the same things. This
and
time,
it was greatly appreciated.
It's greatly appreciated. But this time, he will face a huge task. Because what happened now, market is a different arena. Now Bank of England doesn't have any control, no quantity basing, nothing else. It's there only one way. They have to increase the interest rate to calm the inflation down. So no market has got a control now. Used to be Fed and everything. So if you want to take the money out from the market to feed the people, cost of living down, inflation down, and all the cost price, he would not. I think he's got less things to maneuver. But obviously he's a great financier and intellect. So I hope he'll find, not magic one, find something. So as the market stabilizes now, so I hope he'll find something. And hopefully if the Conservative Party support. Look at the ERG group even today. They did not come in at one point.
How
they
long
didn't
do you
support.
think his charisma will last?
His honeymoon is honeymoon. You could say honeymoon. Over 100 days honeymoon, Liz Truss didn't get it. He look at this ERG group today come just before the decision. ERG said no, we are not supporting anyone. So that means their own party ERG group could not support him, although they know that he might come.
No, they can't directly support anyone.
No, but as a ERG group is a member of Conservative Party, isn't it? So
it's a self-appointed group. It's a self-appointed group of people who are not as important as they think they are.
Yeah,
But then your own membership, that actually the MPs backed Sunak and the membership went for Liz Truss.
Yeah.
And what a disaster she turned out to be, not even 45
Okay, well, I'll
days.
come back.
I
I'll
don't
come
know
back.
how-
Let's hear from
Well, then
both
they
of you.
A lot of
How
the
long-
members are rebelling already.
Let
So
Urmee
talk
carry
of
on.
unity.
Urmee, please carry on.
Yes, we'll
Yes.
come back.
Don't be heckled by your guests.
He has got valid concerns though.
Urmee doesn't relevant to heckle her. She runs this show.
So in terms of as Lutfur Bhai was saying, what would be the level of confidence that we can bring on this young gentleman, 42 years old, very charismatic? We believe he's smart, we believe he's intelligent, but the level of challenges that he has in terms of his inbox is full of all these challenges. So how do we predict his time in Parliament?
In your intro, you have used a very nice word, monumental. I think he has got monumental challenges. He has got just 1.5 years ahead before the general election, and I think it's very difficult for him to resolve all the issues, not only the post-Brexit issues, not only the post-pandemic issues. I think NHS, education, so many things, you can name it. And moreover, I think he has got the responsibility to declare the midterm fiscal responsibility, the discipline, the plan. So as soon as we get it, I think we'll be able to comment on that. Otherwise, it's just, you know.
Do you think that he's going to keep Jeremy Hunt, or he's going to choose a new chancellor?
I think he will have a different setup. I think most of the key position will be changed.
But
as per as my
market
prediction.
has quite a lot of confidence on Jeremy Hunt in terms of how he kind of got hold of the budget and how he presented. Although it was quite a tough budget, but he seemed to have quite a lot of control.
I agree.
Over the market.
I agree, but I'm not really sure about their working relation. So whether or not you'll be comfortable with this sort of setup. So let's see how it goes.
Okay, so that's quite a. I mean, obviously we would like to celebrate, but at the same time, I think there is a saying in Bengali that "Sidure meg dekle bhoy paye, goru bhoy paye." সুতরাং আমাদের সেই অবস্থা যে you know we don't know whether we should be celebrating or we should be still cautious to see how things move on, or
Well,
whether he's just a scapegoat, Paul, in
I
terms
think,
of
I
for
think-
Conservative Party, just to show someone young, talented, bright, and let him sort out the mess, and if he can't, throw him out.
Well, firstly, the youngest Conservative Prime Minister was William Pitt the younger, who was 23 years old, 24, and he's almost twice the age of William Pitt. And he was a great Prime Minister who funded the wars against France. We're always in favour of that in the Tory party. I think that Rishi has the intellect and the ability and the commitment to do a very, very good job. I don't think we want charisma now. Boris had charisma. I don't want charisma. I want competence. And we normally have in this country a prime ministerial system. Tony Blair changed that, and Boris continued it to a certain extent. And I prefer cabinet governments where the Prime Minister chairs the cabinet and the cabinet meets and has proper discussions with experienced advisors from the Treasury and elsewhere and makes long-term decisions for the benefit of the country. It is country before party. And I believe that Rishi will do that, and Rishi can do that.
How is he going to do that? He's only 42 years old with not that much experience in politics, and especially the politics of this parliament, where there is so much division, so much backbiting, so much stabbing on your back. How is he going to manage to have that cabinet that will actually work for the country?
He is a man of immense personal integrity, a tremendous work ethic. He achieved what he achieved through very hard work. His parents put him through private school for the work they actually did, but he put himself through his MBA at Stanford. This man is no fool, and this man is respected in the House of Commons. That's why he's Prime Minister. He's also respected in the country, and he will make the tough decisions. It's not rational for people to expect to have a better living standard year after year after year after year. I think we're facing a tough time with the cost of living crisis caused by the war in Ukraine and the war in Ukraine itself. I think we're facing a very tough time. People will be less well off in the years to come than they are now. That's a tough thing to say to people, but he will make the right decisions to give this country the foundation and stability to cope with the next 10 and 20 years. So I think that he'll appoint a very good cabinet. I suspect he may not stick with Jeremy Hunt, because Jeremy Hunt's an older member of the parliament. He might bring Sajid Javid back, who's a man the markets do respect, and also worked at finance at a higher level than Rishi, interestingly, for a longer period of time. But the cabinet team he will construct will be a broad church, as it should be, but people, men and women of ability, that will then put in place the right decisions for the country, with a conservative angle, I hasten to add. And then in 2 years' time, the country would have that choice, whether you want Labour, whatever your policies are, and we've no idea what your policies are, Urmee, you kept quiet for the last 2 years, or a Conservative government with a 2-year track record of rescuing our country from the current crisis, not of their making, but caused by COVID and the war in Ukraine.
The track record you referred, Paul, is very, very fragile and very, very vulnerable. And how do you think he's going to manage the dynamics with Scotland? Because Nicola Sturgeon today very clearly said that he doesn't have a mandate. He doesn't have the competence or confidence to increase the scrutiny of Scottish Parliament.
Nicola Sturgeon.
And she's going to go for a referendum.
No. Nicola Sturgeon, one of those dolls you bought to your daughter, where you pull the rope and he goes, referendum, referendum. Scotland's in an absolute mess. It's got high levels of obesity, huge drug problems, a failing health service, an ineffective police service.
But she has got the ultimate majority.
They can't procure a ferry without massive corruption. The last thing Scotland needs is independence. She would do better if she addressed the problems in her own backyard than trying to push for a crazy campaign of independence. And I have no doubt Rishi will have a constructive relationship with her, saying, you had the vote, you voted no, let's get on with it.
Okay, well, what do you think about that? The comment from Nicola Sturgeon today that she wants an election so that people can give the mandate.
Well, look, and I think that's what the Lib Dems also are saying. That's
Absolutely.
what we are very clearly saying. Trust the British people. You need a mandate from the people directly. Boris Johnson, whether one likes him or not, had a mandate, a clear mandate. These people, as I say, have been have had the benefit of a coronation from a very, very, very small percentage of the British population. People are fed up, and it just astounds me when Paul talks about Tory successors. Try explaining that to people. People who are struggling to pay bills.
If there is an election tomorrow,
mortgages have gone up by more than £500.
If there is an election tomorrow, how is your party going to rescue us?
Well, look, as I think it was someone said, it's not just about the opposition making mistakes, although our job is to scrutinize the government.
Just assure our viewers, Urmee, how is your party going to rescue us? I'll come back to you, Dr. I have a caller.
Right. Cut VAT on home energy bills, a windfall tax on the energy companies that are making massive profits on our backs, insulating millions of homes.
Hello, assalamu alaikum.
Hello, alaikum salam. Yes, your question or comment, sir?
It's a comment. I'm a Labour voter actually, but I'm very confused now about the Labour policy. Yes, they are talking about the general election, but we have not seen anything concrete that how they are going to take us from this situation. And there are other people saying the same thing.
Thank you.
Nothing concrete. All they are making statement after statement.
And
Can
I maybe respond to that? As Keir Starmer very rightly said that we are not going to write our election manifesto in a television interview. Our promises are all going to be firmly costed, as Rachel Reeves has said. Right? We are a party striving to earn the trust of the British people and be credible economically, unlike this government with crazy, kamikaze budget.
I'll give you some. All this time, Conservative Party, they are taking us through all this mess. Okay, and your party, you remain silent.
No.
Obviously, we didn't hear any policy to say this is how we can take you out of this mess.
Firstly, we've gone on record until the energy crisis to set up a publicly owned energy company. So we are not ripped off by all these private companies that are making excessive profits, right? And no, let me finish, Paul. And a windfall tax on the energy companies, cutting VAT on home energy bills, insulating millions of homes, cutting small business rates, which particularly, East London and inner city areas will help people, supporting businesses to the cost of living storm, buy, make and sell more in Britain to create well-paid, secure jobs in every community. Let me tell you, the cost of living crisis is not just about Ukraine. It's about the way you mishandled the post-Brexit scenario, right? The trade deals that were promised have now materialized. Few weeks ago, Suella Braverman, the then Home Secretary, made this rather cross remarks about visitors from India and other people legally entered overstaying, and that they're a major part of the problem. The Indian government, which was on the verge of signing a major deal with this country, reacted very angrily and indignantly at what it saw as a slur on its citizens who had come to this country very legitimately. These people, with their fancy sort of things about sending people to Rwanda and all that, they live in a different world. Let me tell you the background to these people. And it's not the change the leader at the top. It's the party and its policies that are the problem. In 2012, this small group of people wrote a pamphlet, Britannia Unchanged, in which their vision for this country was a low-wage, unregulated economy, exploiting working people and creating super profits for a few. And that was the fantasy they were trying to live out. It's exploded in their face. Let us see what Rishi Sunak comes up with. I'll outline a few steps that we already have been saying very loudly and very clearly, and that is reflected in the opinion polls. But again, as I say, the only opinion poll that counts is the one on election day. We are not complacent. We'll carry on striving to earn the trust of the British people.
Thank you very much. Lutful Bhai.
I could say one thing in terms of policy. I don't blame actually Labour. Labour even said windfall tax, and which is Conservative is taking. Most of Labour policy, what they take, actually Conservative are taking. So actually, in that case, Labour is a winner. I mean, if you say, imagine the Liz Truss budget, which was turned down, now is a new one. Labour was opposing every bit of things. And now what they have done, they have turned around. So that means I can't say the Labour is wrong in this state. At least the Labour said the right things, that look, do the windfall tax, get the money from the people who are earning, I mean the business. For short term, the Conservative has the idea, oh, they would not do the trade, I mean the business, if they do the windfall tax, the oil company would not do the extra business investment. Yeah. But this is not for the short term. They would not do the investment, but at least we could save the market. At least you don't need to borrow the money from the market, and market would be crazy like the way it was last month. So at least those sort of mistake Conservative did, but Labour was correct at this stage. So the Labour should get credit in this regard.
They were saying that this tax going back to this tax issue is going to generate 87 billion. Yeah. But if there is no investment, where are they going to get this 87 billion?
Again, the investment, you have to do the investment. So the thing that when, look at the Conservative, they started, when they came to power, David Cameron, it was austerity, all about austerity. Oh, we need to save money, we need to save money. That time, Gordon Brown said, grow the economy, get the money. But they didn't take that time, because that time their interest was very low. But Conservative policy was, oh no, we don't take the money out, we need the austerity, we need to save money. Okay, what they've done, again, they throw their book and they started against the spending. Obviously, COVID came through.
Forget, but there was no money left. But Liam Bunn wrote the note. There is no money left. But in 2010, Labour left an empty till. They left an empty till. There were no goods in the shop. There's no cash in the till. There was a bankrupt country, and we rebuilt the economy. We rebuilt the economy.
No, all the money came from market. 12 years of austerity. Right? Can I just say two things? This myth has got to be, it's already been demolished. Gordon Brown, right, through his bailout package, rescued the world economic system, working in partnership with other finance ministers. Let that not be forgotten. And only a few days ago, the chairman of Tesco said that Labour had the only credible economic package on offer. Right? He's not a Labour Party member. He's not some member of some far left group.
I know John Allen well, and that's a distortion.
Yeah. So in the question I put to Labour Party, that if there's a general election now, do we believe that Labour Party will win because they're the only party, or there is no other party for people to choose, because obviously Conservative Party has lost credibility?
With a very short manifesto, nothing in it.
According to my analysis or my point of view, I think people are fed up with Tory government and their policy and their activities, whatever they have done so far. But they just want to have a counter narrative or counter policy. As Desai has mentioned, that they don't have the policy in hand at this moment. So it's very difficult to convince people that Labour will bring the change, since they don't have any detailed policy how they're going to address the challenges, inflation, and there are so many things. Say, for example, NHS, there are longer waiting time. So how you're going to invest on the public services, that is also important. So it's not about business. It's not about.
But we have heard that there are so through Brexit, the money that we are going to save, all those huge amount of money is going to be invested on NHS. What happened to that?
No, I haven't seen that. So we do not have any counter sort of alternative proposition from the opposition party so far, that how they're going to change the broken NHS system.
And
so
then rescue
that
us from
is
this
what,
situation.
as an independent person, ordinary person, I want to hear from Labour Party.
Okay, Darshak, we will have to come back after a short break. Join us after the break, and you can also watch Facebook Live, this program on Facebook Live. We'll be back soon. Thank you.
Anyway, back to
Back to fighting, guys.
Back to fighting. No,
বিজ্ঞাপন বিরতির পর আমরা ফিরে এসেছি আজকের অনুষ্ঠানের শেষ অংশে। আমরা কথা বলছি আমাদের বর্তমান প্রধানমন্ত্রী ঋষি সুনাককে নিয়ে, যিনি আগামীকাল আমাদের মহামান্য রাজার সঙ্গে মিলিত হয়ে তিনি তার মন্ত্রিসভা গঠন করবার অনুমতি চাইবেন। Obviously, as I said at the beginning, this is a monumental day for British history. We have a Asian Prime Minister, very young. We believe he's charismatic. We believe he's smart and going to be able to rescue the party as well as rescue the country. And that's the question I've put to my panel. I have got Paul Canal from Conservative Party from Redbridge. Paul, obviously there is high demands from Labour Party as well as people from this country, general people, media is interviewing people, and majority of the people, or a big number, saying there should be a general election. It should be the people who should now give the mandate to the parliament. Do you believe that there should be a general election now, or should we wait for 2 more years for the country to be a little bit more stable, market to get settled, and that would be for the best interest of the people of Great Britain?
Well, let's be direct and frank and honest. No party that is 30% behind the polls is going to hold an election. It's not going to happen. So asking for it is a waste of time. It's not going to happen. Secondly, the markets do want stability. They want 2 years of knowing what's going on, so the interest rates are brought down
slightly. You don't believe a Labour Party will get a landslide victory if there's an election?
I think if there's an election tomorrow, life would be very, very interesting. It would ruin Christmas for me, but no, now is not the time for an election. I know why they're calling for it. I know why Ed Davies calling for it, but there's not going to be an election. So what Labour needs to do is actually come up with some policies that they think will make a difference, and we can have a proper debate about that. In terms of the country needs to calm down. I really want a quiet, boring 12 months. I found the last 3 months exhausting, as have most of my friends. I want a quiet, boring 12 months where we do things properly and sensibly in the national interest. And I would put country before party now. I would make decisions that are right for Britain that perhaps aren't right for us electorally in 2 years' time. That's what we have to do.
Well, that's very mature to hear. But do you think that the members of your country, of your party, especially in the parliament, they're as mature as what you're trying to kind of put forward to my viewers?
I have great faith in the Houses of Parliament that when it matters, when it's a really serious issue, they do the right thing.
Level of
and
division,
right now,
the level of division in your party
that's
is
over.
unbelievable.
That's over. That's over.
That's over.
No, that stopped today. That stopped today when no one got the votes to stand against Rishi Sunak, and they will now back their leader. I come from a rugby background. You back your captain. My captain is now Rishi Sunak. I chose Rishi Sunak. I will back that man over the next 2 years to put together a team, not one person, we're not a presidential system, a team to do the right thing for this country and for my residents and for my family.
Don't forget Boris said he'll come back. He'll come back.
Let him finish and then I'll come back.
Boris said he'll come back. Boris said he'll come back.
Boris may well come back, but he will not come back as leader of my party. Dare I say it, over my dead body.
But that's what he said yesterday.
Absolutely.
Then I'll contribute to the next general election. That's what he'll come back.
Okay, Bulbul, what do you think, in the best interest of the country, should we actually, should Labour Party be asking for an election? Lib Dem, should they be asking for an election? Scottish First Minister, should she be asking for an election, or should we let Mr. Sunak do his job and see whether he can actually rescue the country?
Before answering that question, I think let me just put it in this way. In terms of the democratic legitimacy, I think there is something very wrong in terms of how we got our Prime Minister today. Normally, in a country like this, people directly elect Prime Ministers, but in this case, we haven't got that. So their demand for a general election is valid, I think, in many ways. So what I can understand from Conservatives' statement and their argument that they're a bit scared of general election because their party were divided, and also now they have got so many things to do. So after
the party
doing
has
that,
been divided since up until 2:00. 1:55 today, because if Penny Morgan would have put herself
absolutely.
forward.
So this is their strategy, as far as my understanding. They will They will try to, unite the party. So this is their challenge. So up until that, they will not go for general election.
But don't forget, Gordon Brown wasn't elected. Jim Callaghan wasn't elected. Yeah. It's not in our nature to do it to hold elections.
Exactly,
We change PMs.
It's the same problem, basically.
Yeah.
That's the same problem. I don't like this sort of, democratic practice where people do not have that, authority to elect their prime minister. So that is, I think, one of the loopholes of the democracy here.
But if this country go for an election now, do you think that's in the best interest of the country? Or, I mean, on one hand, we will have people deciding who should lead the country. On the other hand, the country is already in a severe mess in terms of economically, in terms of political credibility, and having an election is gonna cost us, is gonna make country more unstable. And where do we stand when there is Ukrainian war?
First of all, I think there is a need for the review of this, practice that we are doing at this moment. But personally, I don't support the general election. If you just ask me to, give my sort of opinion, I don't think we are ready to go for another expensive general election at this moment. So it's better to concentrate on how Rishi, restructures everything, the economy, the inflation, and related issues, including the cost of living.
Okay, Urmee, let's come to you.
I'll just say the expensive election, which Bulbhai talks about, you cannot put a price on democracy and letting the will of the people be expressed in the form of a general election. Now, look, I remember I came into politics in the late 70s. I remember when Jim Callaghan took over from Harold Wilson, and I very well remember when Gordon Brown took over from Tony Blair. I think the crisis we have right now is so fundamental. 3 prime ministers in 3 months, a massive, unprecedented cost of living crisis, a low wages crisis, the Tory party fighting amongst itself. I mean, we had, and this is not denied, MPs being manhandled by government whips. At first, it's a vote of confidence in the government over the fracking vote, where MPs were said that you must back fracking, and then we are told it's not a fracking a vote of confidence. Then the chief whip resigns with the deputy. Then they say we haven't resigned. It's just chaotic. And what business is looking for is stability. We are a pro-worker, pro-business party. We will deliver. We've got to, as I say, outline some of the things that we've already said we'll do, like a national energy company. But I keep on coming back to this point that, as Lisa Nandy actually said just yesterday, that you wouldn't bring arsonists in to put out the fire they started. But that's essentially what the Tory party is doing this weekend. All these people, they were all part of the same cabal that has brought us to this mess. Paul comes across as a reasonable one-nation Tory, which I'm sure he is, right? But the majority of Tory party membership are so right-wing. And that is why, as I say, in 2012, Kwesi Kwarteng and all these people wrote a pamphlet called Britannia Unchanged, where they outlined their vision of this country as being a low-wage, unregulated Singapore-style economy. They were using Britain as a lab for the experiments. That whole laboratory has come crashing down around them. Rishi Sunak, right, let us see what he has got to say concretely in terms of dealing with the energy crisis, with the cost of living crisis, with a plan for growth, which we're in opposition. We don't control the treasury. We are forming an alternative. We are actually putting ideas forward, practical proposals forward. But as Starmer and Reeves have repeatedly said, that they'll be fully costed, and we are not just going to write a manifesto on the back of an envelope in a television interview. Quite rightly. It's for the government who are in power right now to deal with answers. They're not delivering. Trust the British people. Let's go for a general election now.
Dr. White, what do you think would be the challenge? General election, but even if we don't go for a general election, how challenging this would be for Mr. Sunak to actually come out with a policy that will be fair to the British people, not kind of sided towards the rich people of Great Britain. That's essentially the principle.
First of all, what he has to do, he has to maintain is unite his party. So the thing is that there is a joke yesterday came for like Penny Mordaunt for the sake of party, Rishi Sunak for the sake of country, and for God's sake for Boris Johnson. So nobody knows what is the Boris Johnson Boris. So this was actually a true story. So he's saying I'm for the sake of country, but I doubt that what Boris said in the last statement that I'll come back for the general election. So behind the scene, Doris and other people, they would not give you a peaceful time. He would have a tough time.
Yeah.
But in terms of charisma, he may do something different. We don't know yet, but he's a smart. We have to accept it. Through COVID, we found him. He's smart. So in terms of charisma, whether he challenged.
But Boris Johnson may have a difficult time in coming months. If he's found guilty by the parliamentary
in terms of election, he said
team.
one thing. Conservative would never ever give the election in terms as they are in 37 points behind the poll. So they would not. They'll see whether next year and a half how things turn around or make some difference, and then but in a sense you can say democracy in action. What I say, although it's British Constitution is like all about the convention, but is party selecting the leader is a flexible thing though, because it's flexible. That's why people, when you cannot govern your own party, then you change the leader, and they are changing the leader. So although it's a chaos, but again I will see, because there is a democracy.
This is something very paradoxical, because Rishi Sunak lost, right?
Yeah.
From Liz Truss, and after his defeat, he became the prime minister. So this is something very paradoxical.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
but one thing though,
137
MP voted first time. Majority MP voted first time.
Absolutely.
The membership rejected.
So member rejected.
But
So as he said, one thing is right, that all the member now behind him. So at least what you can say, look, they can change the leader. It's not like you are not going a rigid prime minister. If you got a rigid constitution and say, look, 5 years prime minister, no changing, like the Boris Partygate, whatever happens, their party made it correct. Otherwise, you could not have done it. You could have gone the wrong leader for 5 years. So at least they have done something right.
Okay.
They throw him out.
Yeah.
Can I say something in Rishi Sunak's defense? And this is probably the only thing I will say in his defense tonight. His age does not matter. Right? It's his ideas, what vision he has got, what strategy he has got, how is he going to solve
but
deliver a
experience
plan.
does count in politics.
And what astonishes me, that when he made his speech for second time round for the leadership, there was silence, complete silence from his camp, right? And this is what we need to know. Look, the shenanigans that go on beyond closed doors in the Tory party and Westminster, I'm not privy to those. And I dare say Paul may not be privy to some of the discussions. It's very clear the membership of the Tory party is not very happy. We already had murmurings of revolt.
We're absolutely delighted.
Well, no, these are the same people who rejected Rishi Sunak a few
we
weeks
are
ago.
delighted.
You are delighted because you're in a corner.
You're possibly a small minority.
Right.
Yes. If you go to the public,
I am the happiest person in my house.
So why don't you go to the country with your economic strategy and say, right, back us or sack us, right?
Yeah.
We are ready to go to the country. We are going to present our
So
program.
let's look forward. Let's look forward. And let's wish Rishi the best of luck, because it's important for the country, not for the party. It's important for the country that he does well. So let's all wish him well, Urmee.
Well,
absolutely.
No. Look, it's about what he has got to say. And so far, well, let's see what he says on the 31st of October. But as I say, he has been a key part of this government that has brought us, to where we are right now. I mean, he only resigned.
And Ukraine.
He only resigned.
Ukraine
He only resigned.
Mini budget
Don't blame COVID, yeah.
The mini budget was reversed. That's gone. That's been erased. It's been erased.
How do you handle Brexit as well? The mess you made, the failure to
I
secure.
voted Remain.
No, not you
doesn't matter,
personally,
Paul.
the party.
We campaign Remain.
Right.
The person who didn't campaign for Remain is Jeremy Corbyn.
But he's no longer the leader of the
Brexit's
Labour
your
Party.
party's fault.
He was not in the decision-making seat, though.
And we were in opposition, but also under Starmer's leadership, the party has now been so united. We are absolutely determined, right, to win the trust of the British people and win the form of government that delivers for the people of Britain.
What is it that you're going to envisage? Whether Mr. Sunak would be able to deliver a policy that will be fair to everybody?
I think you're going to see a return to sensible adult politics in government and the Conservative Party, and you're going to see a very boring 12 to 24 months. No excitement, no exuberance, but government the way it should be done. Sensibly, properly, consulting experts, talking to people inside and outside of government as to what is the best thing for us to do for the country.
Do you believe that he will be able to survive the challenge from all these backbenchers, Tory backbenchers?
I will wager £500 to a charity of your choice that Sunak will lead our party into the next general election.
and you're confident about it.
I'm that confident.
He's not betting his house on it. Only 500 pounds.
Only 500 pounds, yes. Only 500 pounds, yeah.
Well, I'm prepared to take the bet, gentlemen. What you want to match it, I'll increase it.
But as other panel members have said, Paul, that
Yeah.
this is the same person that your members have rejected. They didn't have the confidence on him, so they put Liz Truss.
My members believed what Liz Truss told them, and my members believe in a low tax society. My members believe that your viewers should have more of the money in their pocket when they get paid.
And low
every
wages.
month. They believe in that.
Unregulated economy.
However,
The
the markets didn't believe that.
Destroy the
And
environment.
the MPs in the House of Commons chose Sunak the first time. They chose Sunak the second time. So we've got the PM we should have. And I voted for Rishi Sunak the first time as well. So we got the PM we should have, and that PM, I am convinced, will do well and will do the right thing for this country over the next 2 years, and inshallah over the next 7
So
years.
why the disconnect between your membership and, and your MPs?
The exact same thing is true in your party.
No, no,
Ramesh.
no.
Well, your membership.
This is a vital
your
question.
membership are very, very left wing.
You know,
they chose
you-
Corbyn. The MPs understand.
You're reluctant to go to the
MPs
country,
made
you're
the
reluctant to
right
go
decision.
to your membership.
The MPs made the right decision, and I'm very proud of them for having done that.
All I
And
can
my
say-
country now has a bright future under Rishi Sunak. It's a
the-
fantastic
this government
day.
is in
I
such a
don't
mess.
one thing, the election time, whether you'll be that brave to put Rishi Sunak to the public. That
We
I
will
doubt.
do that. We will do that.
You might go on to
Therefore,
that stage.
different results
Yeah.
from the MPs and the party members.
Yes.
So I can see Paul has faith on parliamentary
MPs.
members.
But they're not
rather
the
than
voters.
Yeah,
rather-
voters,
rather
I
than
doubt.
the-
I doubt whether
But that's
it will
because
be
the
that
pu-
much brave
that's
to
because
put
the
Rishi Sunak to the
MPs
public.
know each
For
other.
another
They
generation,
know
I
each
doubt
other.
it.
Whereas 120,000, 150,000 members can't possibly know these individuals on a one-to-one basis. But the MPs know who's effective, know who's good, and they're the ones who chose Rishi Sunak. And I trust their judgment, a judgment backed by 14 million voters.
No, the 40 million elected Boris Johnson.
No,
I trust the judgment
those
of the British
MPs were
people.
chosen by
Let's
40
go for a
million
general
voters,
election now
and
and
they
let
chose
them
Rishi
decide.
Sunak.
Not a small
It's a
group
direct
of
line.
parliamentarians.
It's a direct line. 2019, 40 million voters, 350 MPs. They chose Sunak. I have faith in them, and I have faith in my country.
So why did you then call for a general election? If you say you have faith in your country, let the people decide.
We had that conversation 10 minutes ago.
No.
I'll repeat it if you want
No,
to,
but
Urmee.
that's
No,
fine. I
no,
think-
no,
I
you've
think
not
we'll-
answered the question.
But but the
Because-
thing is, the question will be there continuously, Paul, that whether there should be a general election, whether people
He
should
does
vote.
not have
That
credibility.
is all we'll hear
Yeah.
from Keir Starmer
No.
is election. We will not hear one single costed policy.
I'll-
We'll hear pie in the
we-
sky
we've already
policies,
talked
plus
about
we
all-
must have an election.
we already
and I look
talked
forward
about
to
the
seeing
stuff that-
Labour's very thin, very uncosted manifesto, and I am convinced that the British people will reject it
Well,
again
you-
in 2024,
you
Okay,
don't
as they
I
did
think we
in
literally have
2019.
5 minutes left. So
You're
let's
about to lose four
conclude.
times in a row,
For
guys.
our viewers, Urmesh, what is it that you will be saying to our viewers that you envisage that's going to happen from now till in possibly next 2 years? And whether we should now unite against Mr. Sunak to rescue the country? I wouldn't say rescue the party, but rescue the country, so that at least we can come down, the mortgage can come down,
Yeah.
we have a better control of energy and so on and so forth.
Absolutely, I could look. One can't. I mean, things have been so dramatic over the last 3-4 weeks. Even Paul wouldn't have predicted the many shenanigans that we saw around Downing Street. I think what people want right now is how the government, who are in power, not us, are going to deal with the cost of living crisis through concrete measures, right? How they are going to deal with the energy crisis. The statement from Rishi Sunak, which will come out with 31st of October, unless he says something earlier, I don't know, but
To
it's
the
not long
fiscal
to go.
report, yeah.
Right. Let us wait and see. We will continue to put our plans forward to the British people. But as I say, the proof of the pudding is the eating. Let us see how long this unity lasts, how long this supposed stability is going to last. A lot of backbenchers are not very happy. A lot of the membership, the middle membership, I would say, are not happy. So it's wait and see. But
Thank you.
We on our part will continue to be a constructive opposition, that we are ready to serve the country, and we ask for a general election.
Thank you. Lutful Bhai, how do you envisage next couple of months?
Next couple of months, I think he will get honeymoon period, then least trust. That's what I mean, at least I got this certainty because the media and everybody loves him, and he's prudent about the experience. So he'll get.
So media will leave him
no,
alone for a
leave
couple
him.
of months.
They'll give him some benefit about 100 days. At least he'll get 100 days. But I doubt, as Paul said, the election. He'll lead the election. That's what I might doubt. He might not go to the public for general election. That's what I. But that time they might need, like he said, charisma, Boris Bass, and all those lie again. We might need to get the Tory vote.
So are we worried that we are still not ready for in public vote an Asian Prime Minister?
100%. To me, he'll just sort the mess out. He'll sort the mess out. Then when he use it, and there is a chance that I doubt it. I doubt whether he will go for general election under his leadership. Let's see. If he's smart, if he does something good, obviously, you never know. It might be, but I doubt. Look at Boris Johnson. He said,
the gap.
And Boris Johnson, he said he's got 102 members backed him. Penny Mordaunt said even 1 o'clock that nearly 100 members, nearly 100 members supporting her. So there are people behind him. No. I mean, So
that was Boris Maths. 5 and 5 is 73. Rishi Sunak will do a good job as Prime Minister. He will gain the trust of the British people by doing the right thing. He will lead the party in the election in 2024, and he's got a good chance of winning because he's fighting a vacuum, quite frankly. He's fighting a policy vacuum.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. It's literally he hasn't taken prime ministership yet, but it's good to hear all this positiveness. Yeah, Thank you, Urmee.
Put forward.
Thank you. Yeah, what's your prediction?
Has talked about Rishi Sunak very highly, but I think I slightly disagree with what he said. Basically, he also broke the rule during the
he also got a fine.
Exactly, along with Boris. So his integrity, ethical standard is not beyond question, number one. Number two is, we can talk about policies and so many things here in the talk show or on the stage. But the thing is, as a working class people, I think everyone, ordinary people, want to know how the economic disparity will go away, how they will survive. They just need to have the confidence.
How they will be able to keep their home, keep their lights.
Their website, I've got the place to improve the public service. They have got the detailed policy about it. But I am not convinced about Rishi because during his campaign against Liz Truss, he had some sort of pledges where I didn't find any sort of reassurance where the public service will be improved. So I'm really keen to know about
strong public services.
Brilliant, thank you. Thank you, Urmee. We have to finish
for working people.
Absolutely, Darshok, we have to finish today's program. I'm sure the debate could run much longer than this. But বিদায় নিচ্ছি আজকের মতন। আমরা আশা করছি যে অবভিয়াসলি এটা ঐতিহাসিক দিন ব্রিটেনের জন্য। একজন এশিয়ান প্রাইম মিনিস্টার, ইয়াং, কারিজম্যাটিক, স্মার্ট, এবং আমরা আশা করি তার পেছনে কান্ট্রি, আমাদের দেশ আবারও ঘুরে দাঁড়াবার একটা সুযোগ পাবে। বিদায় নিচ্ছি আজকের মতন এবং আবারও অনেক অনেক শুভকামনা জানাচ্ছি আমাদের নতুন প্রধানমন্ত্রী ঋষি সুনাকের জন্য। আগামীকাল সকাল 10:30টায় আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান আবারও আপনারা দেখতে পারবেন, রিপিট, পুনরাবৃত্তি। সুতরাং সে পর্যন্ত আগামী সোমবারের অনুষ্ঠান দেখবার আমন্ত্রণ রইল। সবাইকে বিদায় জানাচ্ছি। শুভ সন্ধ্যা, শুভরাত্রি।